some easy ways to feel better. This happens a lot, and this is one of the things I always think is funny. I had somebody come in the other day, and new patient. She comes in, she's like, "Hey, I've been having these weird headaches. Like, I went to my, taking all this Advil, went to my doctor. He gave me this stuff, and she was like, these pills kind of help, but I, not really, and I don't like taking drugs." And she starts going through all this thing and talking about how, when she gets the headaches and stuff like that. And I finally looked at her and I go, how much water do you drink? And she was like, "Oh, I should probably drink more," but she's like, "Yeah, I don't drink very much water." I'm like, "Cool." I was like, let's do an experiment. Here's what I want to do. Just for the next week, next 7 days, drink 100% of your body weight in ounces. So drink about 130 ounces of water every day, just for 7 days, not for any longer. And you're going to pee like crazy, and that's fine. Let's just see what happens when you do that. And so I talked to her just a little while ago, and she was like, "Yeah, I haven't had any headaches." Um, Hydration's really important. We talk about stuff like this all the time, and I really think that people kind of glaze over it. Back pain, neck pain, headaches, sinus issues, joint pain. A lot of this stuff has to do with hydration. Your body is like 70% water. Like everyone's like, "Oh, my body is this much water." Okay, your body uses water for a lot of things. So one of the big ones it uses it for is detoxification. So you'll drink this water in, your body uses water like a dump truck, puts all the waste into it, and then you shovel that waste out. Whether you sweat it out, you pee it out, you poop it out, you breathe it out, regardless, it's exiting your body with the water. And so that's a really big thing. So if you're talking about detoxification, you're talking about that type of thing, you got to have water, or else that's one of your main ways your body gets waste out. The other thing, and we talk about this a lot when we talk about losing water weight, your body uses water to basically buffer the chemistry in your body. So I use this example a lot. Let's say you have a shot glass and it's 70% full of salt and 30% full of water. You take a sip out of it, you're like, "Oh my gosh, that is so salty." If you take that shot glass and pour it into a gallon of water and you drink it again, you're like, "That's not nearly as salty." Well, the reason for that is because of the osmolality, the amount of water to salt ratio. Well, your body produces a lot of waste. There's a lot of other chemicals that are not necessarily in high concentrations or damaging to the body. And so your body will hold on to water to change the amount of how salty the water tastes, if you will. If you don't drink a lot of water, it can't do that. And so what ends up happening is that it becomes inflamed because the ratio is off and it can't keep that stuff away. So it's kind of like the sun is good for you, but if you lay out for 5 hours in the hot sun, you're probably going to get a sunburn, right? Too much. That type of an idea. So that's the other reason we use water. Now, a lot of times when you're dehydrated, you're going to start to feel little headaches. You're going to feel stiff. You're going to feel like, you're just not, your energy is low, all of those things. So getting water in is really, really important. So, this is one of those big ones we've got to get at, as we're looking at these kiddos going back and playing football, and they're, I'm lived in Texas, so it's real hot outside. Getting your kiddos properly hydrated is super duper important, because what you're going to start seeing is if they're not drinking water throughout the day, they're just drinking at practice, what you're going to end up seeing, confusion, weakness, irritability, all those things are going to be through the roof. Soreness, prone to injury, weakness. Your body, one of the reasons that creatine helps your body so much is it holds water in your tissues, in your muscles. And so the contractility of them is much higher, which is why with creatine, one of the reasons why with creatine, you build muscle faster because you break it down faster. You have more functionality out of that muscle. So that's, one of those big things. We've got to keep the water in these kiddos. The other big thing that we see with not only the kiddos, but the adults is the electrolyte function. We talked yesterday about how important iodine was to maintaining hair growth in both men and women, and how the COVID vaccine and the COVID virus have damaged the thyroid, which is leading to a lot of women losing their hair because they don't have enough iodine to keep everything functional. Iodine is one of the elements. Selenium, magnesium, calcium, potassium. You've got a lot of these things. Copper is one that you got to win. Boron's a big one. So you've got to make sure that you're getting all these electrolytes in. The funny thing is that it's not that big of an issue if you're eating a really natural, close to natural, not processed diet. especially if you're eating things like steak. I always tell people, I Google the nutrients that are in steak. I tell all my athletes this. I'm like, Google the nutrients that are in steak. And when it comes back, and you're like, oh man, yeah, steak looks really healthy. There's tons of vitamins and minerals and nutrients. Yeah, that's the ingredient list for building muscle. So if you're trying to exercise and build muscle so that you can either look better, be stronger, lose fat, whatever it is, if you're missing those elements, CoQ10, iron, molybdenum, selenium, like if you're missing those things, you're not going to be able to make new muscle tissue. And so, get all that stuff in. It's super duper important, but it's also driving and functioning your muscle tissues. So if you're low on nutrients, if you're low on minerals, if you're low on water, if you're low on these things, your muscles can't work as well. They also can't regenerate and heal and repair as well as we'd like them to. So in these athletes, in your cells, make sure you're getting these things in. The best, easiest way I know how to do that is to just eat muscle, eat steak, eat red meats, things like that. It's gonna give you all your heme iron, all that stuff. So, those are some of the things. Now, when people ask me once in a while, what is it that is my guiding principle on this one? And it's just, I always tell it's the power that made the body heals the body. And so what we're going to do is go back as close to original God created design that you can. And that's how you're going to be healthier. And what we've seen, and I don't think this takes too big of a leap to understand, what we've seen is that all of the diets that are starting to come out that are, people are like, this created health in somebody. Vegetarianism, carnivore, keto, paleo, Mediterranean, all of those diets are low glycemic. And the easiest way to go low glycemic, and all of these diets that we just mentioned are healthy, are like this. We've taken a lot of the processing or a lot of what man has done to these things away. So when man starts messing with stuff, we start damaging it. It's not how our bodies were designed to take it. So if all you did was eat a diet where it had no processing, like pick whatever it is you want to eat, but it can't be processed. It's got to be, grown or, from nature. So you're looking at, all your meats, your nuts, your fruits and your vegetables. If that's all you ate was stuff that wasn't touched by man and wasn't processed, you're going to eliminate the vast majority of diseases that we know about. So, it's always funny to me, whenever I hear, well, diet and exercise doesn't work. I'm like, who's been trying diet and exercise and it hasn't been working? It always works. When you do it right, it always works. Now, the problem is a lot of people are basing things on calories, and calories are made up, again, as a man made up the calorie thing. Whether or not it was to confuse you, to keep you from knowing how the body works, I don't know. But again, that system was made up by man. If you go back to what is the chemistry, how our body is designed to function, you go back to the physiology, you'll find no calories there, but you'll find metabolic mitochondrial health. And if you've been following any of the people who are talking about this, metabolic mitochondrial health is where actual wellness is. And so it's how do we get the highest metabolic health? Well, we feed the mitochondria the things they need. So people are always wondering, where's all this NAD CoQ10 stuff coming from? The Krebs cycle. That's the chemistry of how your body produces ATP in mitochondria. If your mitochondria don't have NAD, they don't have CoQ10, they don't have the water, they don't have the things they need, can't function. And so we have poor metabolic health, which means we have poor mitochondrial health, which means we're not producing enough ATP, we're not producing enough of the enzymes and the chemicals our body requires to run, and so we're unhealthy. And that's where a lot of this comes from. We see a lot of people when they move down to like Costa Rica, or they move to Italy, or they move to places where food is really, really, really important, or it's just untouched by man. Costa Rica is another one. Panama, Costa Rica. These people start getting really a lot healthier, and they get off of their medications. They feel great, and it's always a question of, well, how did this happen? Well, it's because they got the chemicals the body required to run. The body started running properly again. If you give the body the stuff it's designed to have, it will run like it's designed to run. That's kind of where it is. And that's one of the things that we don't do in this country. So, drink your water. You take your supplementation. If you're in America, you're going to have to take your supplementation. Get with somebody who can help you, tie that to your goals. But eat real unprocessed food, things that God put on the earth. People are always like, oh, and I can talk about this a little bit as well. When we're trying to fix diabetes and stuff like that, we're really trying to lean the body out. going away from some root, starch vegetables and stuff like that. But if you ate, clean, good potatoes, and you ate, good, clean meats and stuff like that, you're still going to be fine. Potatoes aren't necessarily bad for you. Rice isn't necessarily bad for you. It's, the fact that we put ourselves into a high inflammatory position, then we put those foods in, that creates a problem. And that high inflammatory position is mostly from the chemicals we bring in our food and water. Now, granted, not everybody can clean their water enough to pull all the atrazine and the fluoride and stuff like that on that's in it out. Some of the zero filters do a good job of that. So that's going to be back to your water piece. But a lot of this stuff is just, what are you putting in your mouth every day? If you get up and you're like, all right, I'm going to start having the eggs, I'm going to start having the bacon, I'm going to start having the, fruits and the vegetables and stuff like that. A lot of people, like, that's enough. If you just drop all the processing, 100% of the processing out of your food, that's enough for some people, not everybody. That's enough for some people to no longer be diabetic. That's all it takes. Because again, the body can heal itself if it's given the chemicals, the stuff it needs, and the stuff that's breaking it is kept away from it. So, you cut out all these processed chemicals, all these high fructose corn syrups, all those seed oils, like all that stuff. You keep that stuff out. You keep all the, enrichment of different, with different fake chemicals out. You take the like processed store milk. You take that out of your diet. People are always talking about, dairy is bad for me. No, what we've done to dairy is bad for you. Like I've talked about how horrible processed milk is a lot. And so, it's not the things that were on the earth that are bad for you. It's the things that are on the earth that man has messed with now are bad for you. So this is where the whole argument between raw milk and store-bought milk comes from. So, and I'm not saying that raw milk by itself is 100% perfect. You've got to get it from a reputable place that's clean, just like everything. Steaks are fantastic for you unless your butcher is, the person who's butchering it is in a, unsanitary location. Then all of a sudden your meat has poisons and toxins on it, like E. coli and stuff like that. So cleanliness is still a thing, whether we're talking about raw milk or we're talking about your kitchen countertop or we're talking about, meats or anything like that. So, but that's the real deal. Like, and then move. That's all you got to do is move. You don't have to go to the gym and lift real hard. You don't have to, you don't have to do the hard workouts like I like. You don't have to go do CrossFit. Just move. Just get up, like stand up, sit down, like walk around, like bend over, touch your toes, like little things, like just move stuff around. If you'll do that, you'll stay pretty much healthy. So get your water in, take all the processing out of your foods, and move around a little bit. That's it. That's literally what you have to do to be healthy. And the funny thing is that no, we don't have a lot of people who do that. Like, for instance, think about yourself. When was the last time you bent over and touched your toes? Like, I had people come in with their backs hurting, their hamstrings are tight. Like, they're like, oh man, it hurts to move. And I'm like, here's the exercise that's going to get you healthier again. Bend over and touch your toes, 3 sets of 10, 3 times a day. And then a week later, people come back in, they're like, oh my gosh, for the first time in my life, I can actually bend over and touch my toes and my back doesn't hurt and I feel good. Yeah. If you're never moving, trying to move is going to end up hurting. Or if you never move and then you force your body into that position, it's going to break. So, let's go back to the whole statement of, people say you should never lift with your back. And I always say that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You should train your back so that you can lift with it. So bend over and move. And if you bend over and move enough, your body will be used to bending over and moving. And it can then bend over and move when you ask it to without it getting hurt. So, again, some of this stuff's really, really simple, but this is the stuff that I see, the big stuff I see people messing with every day. And if you're like, hey, I want to be as healthy as I can be with the easiest steps possible, cool. Try to get to 100% of your body weight in water in ounces. So if I'm 260 pounds, so I'm going to try to get, roughly 2 gallons in a day, and then move. So like I work out, I like to lift weights. That's my thing. Or run or swim or bike or, take exercise classes or do Pilates. Great. Go do those things. All of those things will increase your overall health. And then take the processing out of your foods. And that's getting easier and easier and easier to do. And if you need somebody to help you walk through it, like that's one of the things that we do. It's like, look, like I love to take people in and this is one of my favorite things to do is to take people in and be like, okay, I'm going to give you a 3-month boot camp and how to be healthy. Like, here's how you should eat for your body. Here's how you should eat, to get rid of the processing, swap these foods for those foods. Here's how you move, that type of thing. Like, if you'll just do those things, you don't have to know all the chemistry. You don't have to take all the supplements. You don't have to be perfect on, whether or not you're taking, one piece of iodine or 5, or like, that's all fun stuff for me. Probably not fun for everybody else. I like chemistry. But at the end of the day, all you got to do is move, not even a ton. Like I said, you don't have to be able to run a marathon to be healthy. So just get out and move. That's the thing I love about Vibe 5 is it's 55 minutes of movement. It's vinyasa flow yoga, so you get all the joint function moves. We get some cardio in, we get some weights in, we get some stretching in, all under far infrared, so you get all that light energy to help reset and calm your mind down and calm your kidneys down and help you detox. It's a fantastic path. Like, I love that one. If you guys are doing Pilates, fantastic. CrossFit, I mean, find a good chiro, but yeah, as long as you're moving around. So this isn't super difficult. We've just been lied to and told that diet and exercise don't work, and they always do. So jump in there, start working out, start moving, start drinking your water, start eating foods that have no processing in them, and the vast majority of you will end up seeing better health, more energy, less irritation, better sleep, and you're going to be leaner. There you go. That's it. So, find somebody who can help you walk through that. A good trainer will help you walk through that. Most of your trainers are still going to be stuck in that calories model, which is I have an issue with. But still, if you're like, hey, trainer, help me find the foods with no processing in them. Cool. Even if you're still running like a 30% carbs, 30% fat, 30% protein diet with no processing in it, you're going to be healthier than if you ran any other diet with a bunch of processing in it. So, all right. If you guys have any questions, hit us up questions@chalmerswellness.com. Or I'll show them, talk to you guys in the DMs. You guys have a great day. Thanks for your time.